What's going on, everybody? Kalipis Tech here, coming back at you with another video. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the OnePlus Nord N200 5G and going over whether or not it's a good phone to buy in 2022. Now, before we go any further, I do want to remind you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you want to learn more about this phone, be sure to check out my full review and tips and tricks videos for it as well. But with that being said, let's get started. So the OnePlus Nord N200 5G has a 6.49-inch 90Hz IPS LCD display with a resolution of 1080p, a PPI of 405, an aspect ratio of 20:9, and a screen-to-body ratio of 83.7%. We got a hole punch up here for the front-facing camera, and this camera is 16 megapixels. So overall, this phone does have a really nice looking display. Thanks to the 1080p display, the image does look pretty sharp and crisp, and the colors also look really bright and vibrant. The other cool thing about this display is the 90Hz refresh rate. Having a 90Hz display means the movement on the screen is going to be a little bit faster and smoother, which is going to make the phone feel a little bit more premium when you're using it in general. And when you're streaming videos, playing games, that sort of thing, you'll get a better experience there as well. Now with this phone, we're getting 64 gigabytes of internal storage with microSD card expansion, so definitely not bad. For the average user, that's going to be more than enough. And the microSD card expansion, of course, does help out a lot too. But if you're a power user, then you might want to consider looking at a phone that has 128 instead, because there are plenty in this price range. And if you're piling on a bunch of apps and games and stuff like that, then you're probably just going to want a little bit more internal storage. Now there's no wireless charging with this phone, but we do get a fingerprint scanner right here on the power key. Definitely a good spot for it, because when you're pressing this button to wake up the display anyway, you might as well have it unlocked too, so it makes things real easy and convenient. In addition to this, the phone also has Face Unlock, giving us yet another way to get into it. But let's go ahead and give this fingerprint scanner a try and see how well it works. There we go, one more time. And there we go. So as you can see, real fast and responsive, no issues here. Now taking a look at the rear camera setup, we got a triple camera here with a 13 megapixel main camera, a 2 megapixel macro camera, and a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera. So it is a pretty decent setup here. Unfortunately, we're not getting an ultra wide camera, which is a feature I personally really like to have on phones like these. So that really is too bad, especially since there are plenty of phones in this price range that do have ultra wide cameras, but at least we're getting a macro camera so you can get those close up detailed images. And then the main camera of this phone does have pretty good quality as well. Now for video, we got a max quality of 1080p in both the rear and front cameras, so no 4K or anything like that, but still all the same, really not too bad. Internally, this phone is getting 4 gigabytes of RAM with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 480 5G processor. Now I ran a Geekbench 5 benchmark test on the phone, and we're getting a single core score here of 463 and a multi-core score of 1584. So definitely not bad at all. Now what I recommend doing is running this test on your current phone and comparing the numbers to these to see if this phone would be an upgrade for you. Because depending on what you have, it may or may not be. But I will say this phone does perform really well. Everything runs really smoothly, and I haven't had any performance issues no matter what I've done on it. So whether you're doing more normal activities, like sending text messages, making calls, browsing the web, going on social media, streaming videos, or you're doing stuff like gaming and video editing, this phone will get the job done. And in addition to this, as the name suggests, the OnePlus Nord N200 5G does have 5G connectivity, and in this day and age, that is always a nice thing. Not that 4G is going away anytime soon, but 5G really is the future, and the network just keeps getting better and better as time goes on. So if you really want to take advantage of it, a phone like the OnePlus Nord N200 5G that does have 5G connectivity, but also isn't super expensive, is always a good choice. Now this phone has a 5000 mAh battery that supports 18 watt fast charging. So sure, not the strongest fast charging out there, but it definitely does work really well. I know from experience, this phone does charge up really fast, which is going to save you a lot of time. And of course, having such a large battery means you might not even ever have to charge it during the day. With a battery of this size, this phone is not only going to last really well throughout the day, but depending on how you use it, it could last multiple days, which is going to be great for longevity down the road, because as the the battery starts to degrade, which all of them do, it's not going to affect you nearly as quickly as it would with a smaller battery, since you're already starting out with so much more battery life than you need. Now, another cool thing about this phone is that it does have NFC, so you can use mobile contactless payment services like Google Pay, and for whatever reason, there are plenty of phones both in this price range and above that don't have this feature, so it's nice to see NFC on this phone. But now that we've gone over some of the features and specs, let's take a closer look at the device itself. So on the left side here, we got the slot for the SIM card and the microSD card, volume down, volume up. On the bottom here, we got the 3.5mm headphone jack, the microphone, a USB-C port, and the speaker. On the right side, we got the power key, and remember, this is the fingerprint scanner as well. On the top of the phone, we got the noise cancelling microphone. And finally, on the back, we got the camera setup, the flash, and OnePlus branding right here. The phone has sort of a matte metallic finish, and it definitely looks nice. You can see fingerprints a little bit in certain lighting, but it's not too bad at all. One thing I especially like about this phone's design is that in addition to just looking really nice and modern in general, it also has a really nice sleek design, so the phone is really portable, super comfortable to hold in your hand and carry in your pocket, but at the same time, at 6.49 inches, the display is definitely not small by any means, so you're really getting the advantage of having a larger display, while also having a really slim phone that's super easy to carry around. And in addition to this, the phone itself does have some really nice weight to it, making it feel a little bit more premium, and it's got good build quality, the buttons feel really sturdy, no complaints here. So if you're looking for a phone that not only has a really nice looking design, but also feels a little bit higher end, then this phone is going to be a great option. But in conclusion, is the OnePlus Nord N200 5G a good phone to buy in 2022? I would definitely say it is. This phone not only has a really nice 1080p display, which a 1080p display at this price range, while not being rare, is not something you find every day. It also has a decent amount of storage. I will say you could do a little bit better if you really want to, but it's not bad. We also got a good camera setup, a fingerprint scanner in a real convenient spot, as well as face unlock, a really powerful processor with 5G connectivity, NFC so you can use contactless mobile payment services, and of course a large battery with pretty good fast charging. So I would say that in general, especially for its price range, the OnePlus Nord N200 5G is a great phone to consider in 2022. Now once again, if you want to learn more about this phone, be sure to check out my full review and tips and tricks videos for it as well. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you found this information useful as well. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. But as always, I will see you in the next video.